Hi, everyone. This is Camden Busey with the Squared Away Life podcast. I wanted to bring you a tip and show you a little bit about my Obsidian setup and how I use the Citations plugin along with my Zotero bibliographic database to link my notes to actual bibliographic works, to books and journal articles, that sort of thing. So sometimes the setup can be a little confusing and frustrating. I was working with a friend of mine to try to get his setup working, and sometimes there's some oddities and complexities. But I want to show you what I do, and hopefully you'll be able to replicate this. And if you're having any trouble, you'll be able to find something perhaps online to solve your issues. So you'll see here I've got Obsidian open. Now I'm going to open up the options, go click on the gear, and you'll see I've got community plugins, citations selected. This is what you're going to need. I've got a citation database path. It shows where this is going. So I have either in citations or I think in Better BibTeX is the other plugin that is outputting various, or Zotero integration is outputting this JSON file of my Zotero database. But then I have established a literature note folder. So these are notes that are specifically attached to books. Basically, if I'm writing or researching a book and I want to take notes, the simplest way to do it is just have a note per book and then just put all your stuff in there. Over time, you probably, if you're going to take many more notes than just a handful, you're going to want to split those up into topics and have more atomic notes. There's a balance between having one single idea per note and just creating too much complexity in your database. That's what I've found. So I strike a balance, but generally start with a literature note folder where you will create one note per work that you are researching. I'll show you more about that. Then you have all these awesome settings for, you can create different templates that can refer to different metadata within the Zotero entry. You'll see some other features here. This is the literature note content template. So when it creates a new literature note for me from an entry in my database, it will include in the YAML the title, authors, and year as data that could be used in Obsidian queries and other things that you might want to do with a YAML. And then it inserts the entry there. I'm actually going to fix a problem that I've had. So if my title has a colon in it, that usually causes the YAML to break. So I'm just going to add quotation marks around that title, which is superfluous for titles that don't have commas, but now my problem will be solved. I won't ever have to do that again because my template will take care of it. Now, you'll see we have Markdown citation templates, two of them. The primary citation template, I have decided to use this format, which I really like. It's basically the cite key, which is coming from Zotero and the Better BibTeX plugin for Zotero. BibTeX is BIBTEX. It's a chi or a key in Greek, so that's why we pronounce it BibTeX. But it includes the cite key, and then I've also formatted this, if you can read it. This is the basic one, it's just an @ with the cite key. But here, it's creating a wikilink style, not only with the cite key as the link, but then the pipe, the vertical line here, which is above the backslash, it's above the return key on Mac, and then the title. I'll show you what this looks like. You'll understand this in a second. And I've wrapped the entire thing in asterisks so that it's italicized. That's what I prefer for my notes, what I prefer to look at when I'm looking at a title of a book. It will be a link that's italicized with the title visible to me when you are looking at the display view. These are Pandoc-style Markdown citations that are useful for connecting to other systems. They're more standards-based. It's a good setup. So this is basically these are the simple features, the settings I'm using. The other thing you're going to want to do is go into hotkeys and make sure that you have these established and you write these down so that you can learn them. I have under citations, the ones I use the most are insert literature note link, insert markdown citation, and then I could do open literature note. So for me, these are all Control-Shift-E, Control-Shift-F, Control-Shift-O. Now let's see this in action. I'm going to create a new note. We'll say thoughts on Voss. With just an example. I've been thinking about. Now I want to refer to a book. Let's refer to The Self-Disclosure of Christ, which is an old book from 1926 that's in my Zotero database. I'm going to hit Control-Shift-F. Remember, this is my citation shortcut. I'm going to find Voss, Self-Disclosure. Where'd he go? There it is. For some reason, it wasn't popping up on the other search, but here we go. So I found it. These are all these entries are coming from my Zotero database. Zotero is tremendous. If you don't have it, you must get it. If you have written anything academic ever, and you haven't been using a citation manager, you need to stop that and get one immediately. It'll format all your footnotes and everything correctly according to your preferred style guide or the style guide of that publication. I find it to be essential, but you could do so much more with it. So we're going to add this. So you can do this with the mouse. You can also do it with the keyboard. So I'm going to highlight the self-disclosure, hit enter. Now you'll see it inserted this link. Voss, Self-Disclosure, Jesus, 1926. That's the cite key for that entry in my Zotero database. Then the pipe, the vertical line there, and then the Self-Disclosure of Jesus, that's the title. And this is all according to the template that I selected or established in the settings of the Citations plugin. You'll see that they're also wrapped in an asterisk. Why? Now if I go to the display view, the regular reading view, it just sees this note, and then this Self-Disclosure of Jesus is a link, and it's italicized. Well, we may ask, where does this point to? Well, this points to a literature note. For me, they're all over here in this folder that I've established called Literature Notes. You'll see a whole bunch of journal entries, or not journal entries, notes that start with an asterisk, and then the cite key for the corresponding book. But if I hold Option, Command, and then click, or you could right-click this and say open to the right, you'll see it opens another note. This is the literature note associated with the Self-Disclosure of Jesus. You'll see it has metadata at the beginning, title, the title of the book, authors, Gerhardus Voss, year 1926. We could have changed this or added much more metadata here if we'd like. Just by changing the literature note template in the Citations plugin settings. But you'll see I've already have a few things are already established here. So this is basically a note. I started writing this as I was researching. Voss references Bousset, and then I've got a link to another book, Kyrios, Christos, A History of the Belief in Christ from the Beginnings of Christianity to Irenaeus by Wilhelm Bousset, 1970. So all sorts of good stuff here. So basically, this is a handy way to work through your notes, to link your notes with your bibliographic entries, and to be more structured, organized, and hopefully speed you up on thinking and freeing you up to actually think, to research, to read, to write, and to process, rather than fiddling around with citations and that sort of thing. You can also be more organized and find your notes and your thoughts on books. right at your fingertips rather than trying to dig through paper files and who knows, Word documents that are scattered throughout your computer. I find this to be a much better way to handle things. I enjoy it, and it seems to be working well for me. But let me know what you think. Comment on this video and tell me about your experience, or maybe you have a better way of doing this. I'd love to hear it, and I'd love to learn and grow in my own practice. So write a comment, let me know, tell me what you think. Thanks so much. Watch some more videos. Head on over to squaredawaylife.com. where you'll find out information about all the stuff that I've got going on, as well as some other publications and news and updates. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Let's get squared away.